Welcome students, teachers, aspiring filmmakers, and YouTube surfers alike. My name is Dylan, and I'll be your guide through this tutorial of DaVinci Resolve 15. If you're unfamiliar with Resolve 15, it's a video editing tool similar to Final Cut Pro or Adobe Premiere Pro. The big difference is there is a decently featured free version of this software, which I am using. Some people might be a bit skeptical of this, but I've been using Resolve since 2017 and I've never needed to buy the studio version for my purposes as a film student in college. If that doesn't speak to the generosity of the developers, I don't know what does. So without further ado, let's get right into this. Now when you click the download button or scroll to the bottom of the page, you're going to see either 2 or 4 options. Choose the non-beta free version because that is the most stable free version there is right now. It's going to ask for some information. I think they just retain it for customer service purposes. So I've personally never had a problem with it, and I've never been contacted by Blackmagic Design. So go ahead and register and download the software. While you're installing the software, it's going to ask you what interface you're familiar with, whether it be Final Cut Pro or Premiere Pro. So just choose DaVinci Resolve, as that is what I will be using for this tutorial. Now that the software is fully loaded and we are in the project management interface, I'm going to go ahead and click Untitled Project. Double-click that, and I'm going to go into full screen from the workspace menu. Now that we are in full screen, we are ready to go into our media tab. By default, the editing software targets the videos folder, and within this folder you're going to want to create another folder to retain all of your project files. Mine is titled DFP225, and all of my video files are in this folder. So whatever folder DaVinci Resolve targets, make another folder within that folder and put all the video files that are going to go into your project into this folder. Ideally, you're also going to want to create a music folder to keep all of your soundtracks. For our purposes, I'm going to be using... That scared me a bit. For our purposes, I'm going to be using Fluffing a Duck, and I'm going to go back to my DFP225 folder and bring a bunch of city-themed night clips. That's not a city clip, my bad. There, city-themed night clips. Let's just not use that one. If you drag a clip in that you don't want, just select that clip and hit backspace. If anyone can tell me where this is, let me know in the comments. Okay, I realized in post that I forgot to mention something very important. If you're working with still images in the media area and you're looking for a picture, but you just see a whole bunch of screenshots of whatever the heck this is, what you need to do is click this ellipses up here and uncheck, actually keep audio waveforms checked, but show individual frames needs to be checked so you can see each of your screenshots. And what the heck, I forgot why I had a picture of this guy in a YouTube thumbnail. I think it was for a college thing, but yeah. So just keep in mind to have this checked when you're working with individual pictures, otherwise it's going to mess your project up pretty badly. Alright, back to the video. Now that I've dragged all of my video files and audio files into this media pool, I'm going to go ahead and click the Edit tab. Now, you're not going to be clicking Fusion, Color, or Fairlight normally because most of what we want to do is in the Edit tab. I'm going to be covering the Color interface in another video. So, let's just say, hypothetically, you want to create a slideshow. Now, slideshows, you're typically going to use still images, maybe a few videos. This slideshow is going to be all videos, but I'm going to shorten each video to 4 seconds, and put this audio track underneath. Let's start with a time lapse. Oh, this reminds me. I forgot to tell you where I got all of these stock videos. So let's go into Chrome and check that out, shall we? Pexels.com is an absolutely massive collection of free stock images and stock videos. When you initially go to this website, it automatically defaults to stock photos, but if you want stock videos, you can just type whatever video you want. I don't know, drone shot, and go to videos. Immediately we have a drone shot of a car on a highway in the middle of nowhere. We have a beach shot. I personally love this, and I might just use this in the future for another tutorial. Plenty of beach photos. Another car video from the same user that looks like a different car? I wonder if he got permission to use this. This doesn't look like a drone shot, but I kind of like it. Oh, and here's a beautiful snowy shot of a car driving through the forest. So go to Pexels.com for all of your stock image and video needs. There is no registration required, and in my experience, all of these clips are absolutely free to download. Alright, let's get back to the tutorial. Okay, since we're back, let's go over some basic controls. This is your select tool. This is what you're going to be using the most often, other than the blade tool, which segments videos, or even the photos in the timeline. So if you want to shorten a clip, you can use the blade tool, or alternatively, you can, let's go back to the select tool. Alternatively, you can right-click and change clip duration. For this tutorial, we're going to have every clip be 4 seconds long, so once it's over the 6, let's press 4 and hit enter. See how that shortened the clip? And this timeline is trucking at a solid 24 frames per second. That's good. Let's look at the project settings, and we are at default 24 frames per second. 24 frames per second is the industry standard for movies, so I like to keep it there, unless for some reason my movie needs to be 30 or 60 frames per second. Let's keep dragging clips in. Let's see, which one do we want next? How about this this dark overhead? Now, this green box underneath the video clip is the audio track. This one didn't have an audio track, interestingly enough, but this one does. So typically what you want to do if an audio track is blank is get rid of it by right-clicking, unlink the clips by clicking this button, click outside to deselect, click this, and hit backspace to get rid of that. But if a clip has a voiceover in it, you don't want to get rid of that. Okay, I went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but I'm back. So where was I? What you typically do for the soundtrack is place it directly underneath. Let's play. That is way too loud for me. I don't know how loud it was for you because of my recording software, but it was kind of loud, so I'm going to select this audio clip, go up here, and reduce the volume. Let's go -7.3. See how that sounds. That's a little bit more natural, but I feel like it could be just a bit quieter, so I'm going to go down to 8.43. It still sounds the same. problem is I'm operating visually. I'm dragging this and watching that. Okay, I like the way that sounds. So I'm going to leave that alone for now and keep reducing my clips to 4 seconds. Actually, let's zoom in. I'm going to click and drag this to shorten the clip, and then zoom in a little. Alright, you see that little black box when I click and drag that has the total clip time? Bring that down to exactly 4 seconds. Alright, so again, assuming there's a voiceover here, this is out of the way and won't cut in. And that's why I love having at least 2 audio tracks so that the clips don't overlap themselves or cut into each other. So let's go ahead and keep compiling. What do we want next? Ooh, here's a nice city shot. Let's reduce the clip duration again to 4 seconds. 400. Now maybe I don't want this particular part of the clip. What I want to do now is go to the trim edit mode and click and drag this. You can see the start and end points up there in the video player. Oh, I like that. That's a good top down. Did it crash? No, it didn't crash. Why can't I move this? Okay, now I can. I don't know what happened. But just in case something terrible like that happens again, let's go ahead and hit Control S, or if you're on a Mac, Command S to save. This is my second take. I had audio issues with the first tutorial I recorded, and it wasn't nearly as smooth, so I went ahead and decided to re-record this. Let's get back to it. I like the way that looks. Let's bring the next clip in. You know what to do, you know what to do at this point, so I'm not going to explain exactly what I'm doing. Alright, you got all your ducks in a row? I hope you do. Because this is my slideshow with just video clips or images, whatever you prefer, and a soundtrack called Fluffing a Duck.mp3. I'm missing a clip, aren't I? Oh, I am missing one. Huh, silly me. Let's just move this over. So we can now drag this back in. Yeah, that was a little bit of a mishap, but we got through it, and looks like the audio track goes quiet. Let's listen to the end of the song. It's not quite long enough for me to put another clip in there, so I'm thinking of just extending this clip, adjusting it a little bit, and having it end on that song. That's a good matching lesson for you. Okay. Now, your slideshow is probably going to be longer than 30 seconds, but that is what this has turned out to be. And that is a slideshow. Or is it? See, when I think of a slideshow, I think of cross-dissolve transitions and titles telling you what the video is. So there are several title options here. We have plain text. We have scrolling text. Only use that if you're doing end credits or something like that. Text plus, which I actually don't know what is, but I think you need an external program to do it. I think it must be a Fusion thing. Right lower third. Middle lower third. And left lower third. We don't want to introduce me. We want to introduce the video. So let's get rid of this title and put plain text over this. DaVinci Resolve tutorial. And I think I'm going to keep it on Times New Roman. Give it a nice green. I kind of like that. If I go to video up here, select that with my mouse. Oh, that's not what I wanted. That's how you zoom the text. Might do that in a minute here. I can move this by clicking the mouse on position X. Click at position Y. Whoa! That maxed out position Y for some reason, so I'm going to move the mouse back to the left and bring the text down. Let's make this a bit bigger. There we go. Not so close to the edge there. And bring it up a tiny bit. There we go. Okay, later on in the video, I realized I forgot to show you something neat with the title. So if I scroll down to drop shadow, offset X. There, do you see how the shadow travels? There. What I normally do is offset X, set offset X to 6 and offset Y to -6. That way the shadow can be seen to the right and down a little bit from the text. You should be able to see it if I go into Cinema Viewer mode. There, you can see the shadow there, right? Let's play it. Alright, let's not make this quite as long as the clip. Let's take it to 3 seconds. There we go. Okay, remember how I said I was gonna lengthen this clip? Let's bring this all the way out to the end of the soundtrack. That just doesn't seem right. For almost half the video, these two people aren't even in frame. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is use trim edit mode again. Keep the same timing and duration. and change what's on the beginning and end frame. You see how this person is walking into the beginning frame just there. Drag that to that point. Click the select tool again. Let's shorten this a little bit. The audio sounds like it ends a little abruptly, so I'm gonna make it fade out. Alright, do you see this knob down here? The little white knob at the end of fluffing a duck.mp3? If I bring this over for maybe 10 frames, I can make the audio fade. There, you see how it didn't just cut off, it actually faded a little bit? My little indicator up here turned yellow, so I'm going to go ahead and save. Now this fading tool applies to the clips as well, you may have noticed. So I can drag this 10 frames back. Anyway, the same rule applies at the beginning of the video, so if I bring this to about a second, which is 24 frames, 21, 22, 23, there we go, 1 second, I can make the video fade in. You can also fade titles in and out. So let's give that a second to fade in and about 10 frames to fade out. Alright, our slideshow is almost done, but every slideshow needs some kind of transition effect. At least that's how I feel about it. So let's go to video transitions under the toolbox over here. Let's see how it looks with the cross dissolve. There, I like how that transitions. So in iMovie, and maybe in Final Cut Pro, I don't know about this, you can set the program to add a cross dissolve or transition of your choosing to each clip automatically. So anyway, in this video we've covered getting your project started, linking and unlinking clips from each other, adding your soundtrack. We've covered transitions. And there, like I said, there are plenty more of these to choose from, and you can experiment with that on your own. I'm not going to lengthen this video by going through every single one of them. Did I mention titles already? Fading. And this is all basic stuff to make an informational video without any real special effects, which I'll be covering in a later video. So now that it looks pretty much complete, I think I'm going to go ahead and get ready to export this. Yeah, I think I like how this turned out, so I'm going to go ahead and click Deliver down here at the bottom. And I normally choose the YouTube presets, but I change this to MP4 format. But from here we can go to the File tab, and you're going to want to choose a custom name and name it whatever you want, otherwise it'll just name it Timeline 1. So I'll just name this Tutorial 1 Render 2. And I'll add this to the render queue. It's gonna automatically choose this destination. Don't let it save it there, otherwise you're gonna have a tough time finding it. Instead, what you're gonna want to do is save it to, ideally, your videos folder. So let's go ahead and save it there and start rendering. Don't forget to save before you close DaVinci Resolve. Alright, I have my Windows video player open. I like how this turned out, so if you have any questions about DaVinci Resolve, be sure to ask me in the comments, and I'll try to answer to the best of my ability. Next video, I'm going to be covering keyframes and how to move still images in video playback. So, if you've ever seen a still picture move across a screen during a video, I'll show you how to do that. And pretty much all about keyframes in DaVinci Resolve. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.